Clerk will report a resolution.
House Joint Resolution number 733 commending the Richmond 34. The resolution was adopted by the House January 28th and adopted by the Senate on February 7th.
Delegate from Richmond City, Delegate McQuinn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker and members of the House, it is indeed an honor and a privilege for me to present this resolution to this group of individuals today. They are formerly Virginia Union University students, better known as the Richmond 34. But I want to present them today as history makers, change agents, and trailblazers. The Richmond 34 was bright, tenacious, brave, courageous, and energetic young people, inspired by one of the greatest change makers that we know of our time, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who had visited the university several times. Like many great historical figures of the past, they started out young, but in real time their actions conveyed lifetime messages and lessons. Why? Because it was these 34 courageous men and women who on February the 22nd, 1960, redirected the course of history. All of them growing up in a segregated community, segregated school system, and in a segregated South, did something phenomenal by sitting down in a segregated Tall Hammers lunch counter. They had goals and objectives and went forward executing the plan to create a better Richmond, better Virginia, and a better America. They are credited for striking a major blow in the guts of Jim Crow's laws and practices as it relates to segregation and racism and inequality. They were trying to navigate in a well-established system of injustice and inequality, whose roots were deeply penetrating the very foundation of Virginia. But their persistent efforts and determination made a difference. And so on behalf of so many people, I thank them for their sacrifices. They will go on establishing themselves in numerous professions that impacted society in a positive manner. It is interesting that many of them I have interacted with over the years and had no knowledge that they had made such an impact in Richmond and society, showcasing their gracious humility. Although they were young, they were trained and coached by their predecessor for a peaceful protest. And I'm certain that they were innocent students who were extremely naive as to what they would face. But they used exceptional restraint to lead a peaceful protest against an evil system of bigotry and discrimination. However, they moved forward that day and made an extraordinary difference in the terms of the South segregated policies and practices. We recognize them today for their sacrifices. And Mr. Speaker, after all of these years, they are just getting their records expunged after 59 years. Thank God for the Richmond NAACP and other organizations, including Bertie Jameson, who helped to make that happen. At this time, I want to turn it over to the chairman of the Virginia Legislative Black Caucus, Delegate Lamont Bagby.
Take away. From this way.
Delegate from Enrico, Delegate Bagby.
Speaker, it's pretty hard for me to get through a crowd.
I thought you maneuvered pretty well there.
This is an awesome crowd and an awesome group of individuals to be amongst us. Mr. Speaker, I do want to thank Delegate McQuinn for bringing this forward, and also I want to thank these individuals who have paved the way. This month for us here in the General Assembly has been trying. We've heard speeches, we've heard a lot of conversations. Some made us uncomfortable, some made us think, some hopefully will make us move and do things. But these individuals have been doing it long before us, and it's so awesome to have them here so we can be a reflection of their service. And I hope it will be the pleasure of this body to give them a round house welcome. A warm house welcome.
Delegate McQuinn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I've heard many of their stories, and it's been a very emotional day for them, and it's still not over. And so we, again, just want to and I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing us this opportunity, and the House for tolerating us at this moment. But we really want to say these are individuals in whose shoulders that we stand on. And I also want to acknowledge the former president of Virginia Union University, Dr. Perkins, and the First Lady, and Mrs. Perkins, and then other members of the Virginia Union University. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.